Hey guys, welcome to the England Rugby podcast with O2 Inside Line. I'm Dylan Hartley, and this week I've got Henry Slade and Luke Cowan-Dickie. Slade, Dickie, how are we doing, boys? Nice to see you both. How are you getting on?
Hey mate,
Yeah, good.
So you boys have obviously left your England bubble this week to go home to see your families. How's that been for you?
Yeah, it was nice. Obviously, we both got young children, so it's nice to get back and see them, and the missus, obviously. But yeah, nice to get back. Olive, my daughter's got to get her first tooth coming through, so yeah, it's nice to get back and see her. I just got a text through today actually that she started eating. She sent me a picture. She's been eating. We got a plant downstairs. I got sent a picture of this leaf. It's like this size. It's like that bigger chunk of the leaf been eaten off. Yeah, I'll try and find the picture in a minute, but she's been eating the plants now, so she's eating everything.
So you're at that stage with Olive where you're getting your first everything, like everything's like this massive milestone.
Yeah, exactly. Like when she's sitting up now.
Soon enough, she'll be emptying that pot plant into her mouth, mate. She'll be eating that mud before you know it.
Eating the mud.
Dickie, what about you, mate? Did you get home?
Yeah, I got home for a few days, mate. It was nice. Little man's birthday was the Scotland game, so it's the first time I saw him after that, which was nice. Annoying thing was he's quite late to crawl, so he turned a year and he pretty much crawled like a couple of days before. I was at home for ages trying to get him to crawl, trying to get him to do anything but lie there. As soon as I left, 2 days, he started crawling. Devastated. Missed it.
Oh, no. But can I offer you some advice? When they go mobile, it's trouble, mate. Like, having them as like a little potato is the best thing in the world.
Yeah, but I just bought a dog pen, bro. I'm going to put him in that one.
A dog pen? Is it cheaper than a kiddie pen?
Yeah, a little cage, bro. Yeah.
You can't cage a child or an animal in that
bro,
case.
You have not seen my kid. He's nuts. He's
tell me about him.
Yeah, so he's just over a year. He's crawling, got a few teeth. He's at the stage now where he can't leave the room without him screaming. So he's got the attachment issues at the moment. He's doing well. We started him off because we had him in lockdown. Pretty much started lockdown, so he's seen no one. So we started him in nursery every Friday just to get a bit of interaction, and I think that's going quite well. So
as I understand, it's been second time round. It's pretty intense. Is this like a massive kind of relief for you boys to get back? And I know what it's like having like a young family getting home. It's like going home for Christmas. You know what I mean? It's mind you, my drive from Penny Park was only about an hour and a half. You guys got a good 6 hours in the car. But like to break the monotony of what you're doing at the moment, is it even better, even sweeter?
Yeah, I think it was nice. Obviously, it's nice to get a break. I'm actually really enjoying it. I don't see many people outside my house anyway, so this lockdown stuff's pretty normal for me. But now it was nice. It was good to see, obviously, the missus and just help her out, because first time parenting on her own, so she's finding it a bit tough. But like I said, 4 days was probably enough for me, mate. Back up here now, get some good kit.
Hang on, aren't you like semi-detached with Jack Knoll? Don't you just have a fence that separates you?
Yeah, we're all detached, but yeah, I could throw a stone in his window easier.
You haven't done that, no?
Not quite a stone, no.
No. So your missus is in good hands. She's obviously got Jack's family just over the way.
Yeah. There's two of the boys live right next door. So
just on that, when you are back in Exeter, you are admittedly a bit of a recluse. Do you actually see Jack much?
Yes. Yeah. No. Obviously, we sometimes go for like a bit of food over each other's houses. We're sort of like, since the start of lockdown, we've all sort of bubbled together. Like we've never left. So it's quite nice that you've got neighbours right next to you who are also like club teammates who get tested constantly to have around. Otherwise, it'd be pretty lonely place. But now it's been all right. Yeah, it's been good.
So you boys have both had a pretty interesting year. Both became dads for the first time. You've had a pretty amazing year when you think about rugby wise success. Domestically and Europe. Has your kind of perspective changed at all, like by having your kids? Has it been a maturity thing for you guys? Has everything just kind of fallen into line? Slade, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think so, maybe. I think, it hasn't. Obviously, it's a massive change having a kid. And, it's very different, but it's been it's been class. It's all just felt like it's meant to be, really. I think it just feels, I couldn't imagine life now without little Olive. And obviously
little man.
it's cute, isn't it? Yeah, it is obviously, like I said, massively different, but I'm loving every minute. Megan, my partner's, loving every minute. And like I say, it's been a great year on and off the pitch. But I think, yeah, it probably has matured me a little bit. I guess in the past, things were, you probably think about yourself, and obviously I think about just me and Megan mainly, and how things would affect us. Whereas now we've got everything, like Olive comes before everything. So it definitely changes your view on things, your perspective, as you know. But yeah, really enjoying it, mate.
Apparently, you had the delivery. You just cried throughout.
Nah. I don't cry with anything, mate. Right, but I don't know why. I just can't do it. But then when hey,
that's a lie, bro.
Well, it's not. I've seen you cry.
You're an emotional guy, bro.
But then, yeah. As soon as she was born, I couldn't speak, mate. I couldn't speak for like 3 or 4 hours. Like the midwives were trying to get stuff out of me, and I was like, I just literally couldn't say anything. I was a mess. I wasn't like crying non-stop, but like every time I went to speak, I just like my voice didn't work. It was weird. Yeah, I suppose it's just like I'm real experiencing it, and just sort of we didn't know what we're gonna have, so we didn't know boy or girl. And Mrs. had a C-section, so when she was pulled out the sunroof, we were just waiting to see if we were having a little daughter or a little boy. And yeah, hell of a surprise, probably the best surprise you'd ever get. And yeah, it's just mental, mate. It was real emotional.
Is it that sort of thing now? Like when you go home from training, like you're forced to switch off? Because I know it was like, pre-kids, you're quite a selfish, as a sportsman or sportswoman, you're pretty selfish, aren't you? You just do what you want. But like as soon as you go through the door at home, it's like you get this ball of sick or a ball of poo kind of just thrown into your hands, and it's like, can you feed him? Can you feed her? Can you do this? Can you do that? Like your missus has just been holding down the fort all day. It kind of forces you to switch off.
You just get given it. Yeah.
And then
I think it's been the best thing. I don't know if you think the same, but it's been the best thing for me. I think sometimes in the past, maybe I've overthought things and overanalyzed, and things play in your mind too much from training or from games. And having Olive and having someone to come home to just completely switch off and forget about that and just relax and enjoy her company, really I think it's been really good. Dwelling on things can have such negative effects. So I think, yeah, you can't do anything about the past. So I've always think now I see, if I've got something to take my mind off things, it's way better. You just think about what you can do the next time, really, when you get into training or to the next game. So yes, had a real positive impact that way.
Dickie, you've always done many a thing to take your mind away from the game. Your list of hobbies
goes through phases.
Yeah, your phases. Can you list a couple of your phases? Pre-Arlo. What have you been into? I want to talk about the horse. I want to talk about the gaming. I don't want to.
So the horse was pre my missus now, so pre Chloe, so with my ex. Went hacking a few times. Yeah, we bought an Irish horse. Bloody hell, it came at like 3 a.m. in the morning. But genuine, very good experience. I had to stop so that I think it was like our second Prem final. And we went hacking a couple of times in the week before it. And I got bucked off twice. And I was thinking to myself, if I get bucked off again and I injure myself, how can I go into Rob Baxter and tell him? So I had to put him to one side and basically never rode again, pretty much.
I mean, when you say you had to put him to one side, he didn't go off to the glue factory, no?
Tesco's Burgers.
Oh, no. Eddie threatened me with the glue factory for years. But genuinely, did you live on a farm, or did you just keep this horse like tied up in the front garden? Like how did that
so
work?
Basically, they had a farm, they had land, they had acres, they had cows and stuff. It wasn't huge, but they had a fair few fields, so we just kept it there. Yeah.
What? So and you didn't marry her?
No.
Oh, Dickie, mate, you left the acres behind. That won't make the edit. Don't worry.
I found the one, brother.
All right.
She'll probably be listening to this. You're the one, baby girl. You're the one.
What came after the horse? What filled your time after training?
Bodybuilding was next.
Nah, so gaming. So gaming's always been a thing of mine. I gamed since I was probably, I don't even know, I can't remember, but I gamed a load. Golf was quite high up, so I used to play probably 18 holes every day. 9 on a Friday before a game, and then sometimes if it was an early game, I played 18 after the game. Some days on a Thursday.
Can I stop you there? On a day off, he'd walk 36 holes, Dylan.
That's insane.
I got obsessed. I got obsessed with golf for a year.
That's a good 7 miles. That's a good 7 miles.
It was a lot, yeah. That year also, obviously, I went for a single patch, so I was trying to get in good condition. Dropped to 100 kilos actually, which wasn't very good for the rugby. But now, and then gaming still game quite a bit. Not as much, obviously, with the little one. Golf's been fully put to one side because it's either golf or gaming. I haven't got time for both now. And gaming is obviously easier. I can sit down, drink coffee, and do nothing really.
So a couple of nice sort of accolades. You were number 1 in the world at one point for team deathmatch or capture the flag or something like that. Hopefully some of our younger viewers, I don't actually know what that means, Dickie, but I think it's impressive. What about golf? What handicap did you get to?
So I was playing with the boys, obviously 18, but I think I went around the Exeter Golf and Country Club 12 over, which it was about after a year playing, which was nice. Had a few lessons. I
do love it, but were you performing well at the weekend when you were playing golf, when you're gaming, when you're riding your horse? Were you playing well? Do you think like having balance and interests outside of the game were good for you? Yeah,
definitely. It gives you time to switch off. You know what it's like when you're at the club. It's all pretty much flat out training and meetings, and then you all act like kids when you're there, eh? And then when you go out and get on the golf course, you can't really act like a kid. A lot of the women and the elderly gentlemen look at you strange. So it's a good time just to switch off. Sometimes I'll play by myself, just get a bit of alone time. No, it was good.
I think it was around that time where there was mad traffic in Exeter one weekend, and like the boys were all leaving to get to the game, and I can't remember who we were playing, Bristol or Sale, maybe like, but it might have been Bristol at home actually. Yeah, and like a journey that would take 15 minutes it could take you like an hour and a half. Like that's how delayed it was, maybe in 2 hours. So Dickie didn't see. I guess you didn't see your phone, did you?
I was gaming.
Gaming, of course. Didn't see his phone. Left at a normal time, and was like never gonna make the game. So he got to probably like half an hour before the game, and he's at Toby Carvery on one of the roundabouts up by Sandy Park, and he's like, he's still like a good while away from the club. He's just parked up at Toby Carvery, and he's run, what is it, about a mile and a half probably?
Yeah, about a mile and a half.
He's run in his flip-flops, bag over his shoulder. He's running past all the fans that are walking to the game. And he's running to Sandy Park. He gets there 20 minutes to go, has a shower, doesn't do the warm-ups, gets changed, had a shower just in time for kickoff, plays 75 minutes, gets him out of the match.
Love that. I was kind of hoping that the story would have been like Dickie picks up his phone, realizes there's 2 hours of traffic ahead of him, and he saddles up the horse. Mate, he just bowls up Sandy Park on the horse.
Imagine. No, there was a crash along the motorway, and for some reason they closed the bridge, which I normally go across. And I literally got there. The ref was late, so I got there, and I was in the physio room. I got strapped, so I genuinely had probably 5 minutes. Put my boots on, I went out. But I already did my warm up. I ran a mile and a half.
Yeah.
So Dickie, I knew pre this chat how interesting and how many layers there are to you. Slade, tell me something interesting about you. What other interests have you got? What are you good at? What do you do away from rugby, apart from cry when holding your baby?
God, I don't know, mate. I game a bit, not with Dickie. He does it with his online friends.
Don't talk about gaming. Like, unless you're number 1 in the world, like Dickie, and really good at it.
I'm not number 1 in the world at anything.
Come on,
world at anything.
Golf? You play a bit of golf?
I play a bit of golf, but only in the summer. My best mate actually is a pro golfer.
Dickie?
He's one of, but he's a good mate. Mate, I walk my dog, as we all do.
He's a real interesting character, Dylan, as you can tell.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's not much going on at the minute because I can't remember what we did pre-lockdown. Like at the minute, all I'm doing is training, walking the dog, playing Call of Duty. And what else is there to do?
Lucky we've got Dickie on the pod then.
What are you doing, Dick?
You boys go back. You boys go back a real long way. You kind of come through the academy together. Do you remember your first impressions of each other? Dickie, I'll let you go first because you're more interesting.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so Slade actually played for. Did you play for our college first, Slade, before England? I think it was. He come and played a few college games for us, and he come from a posh school, obviously, Henry Slade. And he came to our college, and to be fair, man, I thought he was a bit of a loser. Like he just looked like one of them losers. You know what I mean? Like he just wouldn't get on with. And he still is a bit of a loser, but he's all right. Like he's turned out to be quite good. He's put on a little bit of size. Back then, honestly, he looks probably about 16 now. Back then, he looked about 8 and he was 18. But now he's grown. He's blossomed well. That's what I'm going to tell you. He blossomed well. Yeah.
Dickie, I've got a bit bigger, and Dickie's got a considerable amount smaller. Turned up the first time I saw Dickie, he's about 125 kilos. This fat kid from Cornwall. First time I ever seen him, I was like, "Who is this guy?" It's just like a big sausage.
Both your kind of journeys. So you both got capped 2015. Slade, were you 2016 or 2015? Both 2015.
Same day, same game, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So you boys have had, I'd say, 4 or 5 years of maturing within that environment, kind of waiting for your shot. Like Dickie, was that experience for you a good kick up the backside in a way?
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was a bit early for me. I was relatively new to hooker, not the smartest blokes anyway. So understanding the line out, what I struggled with. So I could stand and throw a ball, to a pole. When you do your extras to a guy on a ladder, that was no problem. It was more the timing of throwing. And when I got into games like the France game, I might have hit 1 out of about 5. That was more, I just had no idea where the ball was going to go. So I think after that, obviously it was good to get my first cap, but then thinking back, I was probably, it didn't set me back, but in my head, I knew I wasn't ready. So I think it was slightly early for me at the time, but obviously now I'm here where I am. And it was obviously the right decision at the time. But no, it was good.
Yeah, I was going to say from my point of view, like, playing hooker, there's always direct competition. Unlike a bit like Slade, you could play across the back line, you know what I mean? Wherever the boss or the coach sees fit, you could slot in. But at hooker, you kind of like pigeonhole to that one position. So I was always really aware of my competition, of Jamie George and yourself when we were all in camp. Slade, for you as well, you've played across the back line. You've played 10 for Exeter, 12, 13. I don't know if you've played anywhere else, but are you just kind of now finding your feet? You feel established within that 13 shirt?
Yeah, definitely. That's where I play. I haven't played anywhere else really in 13 for a while now. A couple of games at 12 here and there, but yeah, I feel like that's my position, and that's what I've been sort of getting used to and getting better at all the time. I mean, when I first started at 13, it was the warm-up game before a Premiership season started, and I'd never played 13 before, and thought it was a typo when it first came out on the team sheet. But yeah, since then I've really enjoyed it, and yeah, I definitely feel at home at 13.
What did you learn from like your early experiences? So go back to 2015, and you get thrown into that. You're on the rise. You come in, you get capped, but then you kind of get checkered back in terms of, you get sent back to Exeter. You're not in that starting shirt the whole time. Dickie, you've had to wait for your first start in 2019. So what was your kind of thought process during those last 4 or 5 years? What have you had to have a look at yourselves? Have you looked at your competition and how you've got to get better? What have you done in that time, Dickie?
Yeah, Dickie, you going first?
Or Slade, yeah, go for it, Slade.
Well, I think before I've made my first cap, I'd been in camp for a little while, obviously pretty young, and was not expecting it at all to be involved, just sort of the experience. And I thought when I got my cap, I felt like I've been in pretty good form, and I was feeling quite confident and young and confident, and obviously getting that first cap was unbelievable. And I think I felt when I went back to the club, I felt like I was in in good shape and maybe with a good chance of being involved in the Six Nations following up. But then I broke my leg, and that obviously put me out of that and put me out for a little while. I maybe knocked a bit of confidence out and took a bit of coming back from. Maybe a bit longer than I thought. Obviously, I was over it fairly quickly physically, but mentally it was a bit different. As I say, it took me a little while to get over that and get back to playing like I wanted to. Really, it took actually probably a couple of years. And, it was getting frustrating. I was getting more and more frustrated because I just wanted to pick straight back up from where I left off, but realistically, that wasn't quite what it was going to be. So, yeah, just got my head down really and worked hard to get back in the fold with England and to get back involved in the squad, and then gradually. Got my foot in the door a little bit more. I think the Argentina tour was quite good in terms of obviously a few boys being away on the Lions. It gave us a chance to start and start a couple of games on the bounce and like I say, get my foot in the door better. And from there I feel like I've pushed on a little bit and I really enjoy it. And I really enjoy coming to camp every time I come, and hopefully we get to keep doing it for a bit longer.
Do you feel like now that you've kind of you've had a couple of Premiership titles and a European title, do you feel like you can walk in now with your shoulders back and your head up like you're the man? Like you can I don't know, like no, genuinely, like you can be yourself, you can speak, you can command on the field. You're in a leadership role. You know, you're 27 years old. You're not a young player anymore. Do you feel a lot more confident now?
Yeah, definitely. I think, I don't know whether it's subconsciously just through having maybe the to where we've won with Exeter over the last few years, maybe subconsciously makes you feel a bit more able to speak, and maybe feels like your voice has a bit more clout. I don't know. But I guess it's a combination of that and just through being in camp and getting to know the boys over the years. And I think, myself and Luke probably feel much more able and more confident to speak up now. And
he stopped speaking for Dickie. He can speak for himself.
Well, it's like my old man, that bloke, isn't he?
Luke Cowan-Dickie, spokesman, Henry Slade. Dickie, what about you? You're 4 or 5 years in and out of, as an old bugger like myself hanging about. You must have been pretty frustrated just going, go on, Dylan, retire. I had to do the same. Like I had Steve Thompson, Lee Mears, people like that hanging around. I always thought I was ready and I was good enough. But for me, that experience of sitting behind people and just waiting and being sent home on a Tuesday type thing, in the end, it put me in good stead. What about you, mate? It's taken you 4 or 5 years. How do you feel now?
Yes, I think it's been worth the wait. And I think, like you said, I definitely feel the last couple of years is probably where I felt actually ready to play international rugby. I knew I was sort of able, but it's like you said, there's different pressures in it. When I first started, obviously playing hooker, even at club, my actual technique of sort of set piece stuff hasn't changed too much. It's more understanding the lineouts. Like I said, I think my first year or 2 years at Chiefs, my stats were horrific. I maybe hit 70% lineout success, and it was the same when I first come in here. I think the more Prem games I played, the more comfortable I got, and it just seemed a lot easier. And here now, picking up cap here and there, just getting that game time. I think coming off the bench previously in the last sort of few years, obviously I struggled a bit. It was more nervous, like you don't want to do anything wrong rather than put the team on the front foot. Whereas now it's, like Slade said, a bit more, it's comfortable isn't the word, but I feel more comfortable around the boys. It feels more like a club environment. So when you go on the field, it feels more like you're trying to make the team better rather than perform well yourself, if you understand. But now it's been good. It's been a long time coming, and I'm just enjoying every minute now. I think the Argentina tour was going to be one of them ones where, like you said, it would have been you and hopefully me was there, but I had to get a knee op. So there's a few things like that, I think, which would have been good for me to get experience on, which I missed out on. But I think that the wait's been long enough, and I feel pretty decent now and confident to perform in big games.
What I hear from both of you is something that resonates massively when I look at Exeter. You got like that brothers environment where you're all in it. You got a great club environment, and it feels like you guys are more assured in yourselves because of that club environment that you've probably, and the relationships that you've formed in that England camp now, so you can be yourselves. Talking about being yourselves, like Dickie, I've always known you as a bit of a wild boy, a bit of a wild man. We don't need to tell too many stories here. We haven't got enough time because you got physio in half an hour. But is he still there, or is he matured? What's matured you? Is it kids? Is it age? Is it opportunity and whatnot? Is he still there? Because I see it when you play. Like, I love that about you. You kind of confrontational. You're a wrecking ball, mate. But how do we say this politely? Off the field, is the wild man still there?
No, not anymore.
Where is he?
Obviously, say again.
Where have you put him?
He's under, bro. He's underground, deep. I can bring him out when I need him, but not off field. I think obviously training, like always. Normally people call you nauseous, but I normally quite nose in training. Like training, I train flat out. They say it's a 60% run through, and I'm going 110%. Same in games. I think you can't really play a game how you want to play unless you lose the plot in training a little bit. But now definitely off the field, I've matured. Obviously with a kid, my partner now obviously live together and stuff. So it definitely has matured me. I find, when I have to let myself out a bit, I just go and game by myself. I think that just chills me out.
Nice. So we talked about your first caps back in 2015. What was your driving force leading to that point, Slade? Well, who was pushing you? Were you pushing yourself? Did you have aspirations to play for England? Were you really focused on it, or did it just come about? What were you doing pre-2015?
From school and through the Exeter Academy, and when we just got into, we were living together in the lodge, and some horrible times in there. We were just focused on getting into the Exeter team and being able to play there, because England for us was miles off, or seemed miles off. And by the time we broke into Exeter, they sent us on loan to Plymouth and played a few games there, and then got brought back. So it was always like little short steps. We had to get into the Plymouth team, we had to then play well there, get into the Exeter team, and once we were in Exeter and we strung a few games together, then it wasn't far off. It wasn't that much longer until it was probably a year or two until it was Lancaster at the time. He sort of pulled us in for a few training camps, wasn't it? And then all of a sudden it's like, it's quite close in front of you. And it gone from being like a dream from a long time ago to being actually right there, but without maybe having thought about it too much. I don't know. Yeah, it always was a dream, but sort of crept up.
I was going to say, like, you boys are like the trailblazers in a way, because, Exeter Rugby, had it provided international rugby players pre you guys?
Yeah, Nosey was first, and we were a little bit after that, weren't we?
TJ.
Tom Johnson, obviously, yeah. But I was going to say, it's not like the Exeter that it is now, where you guys are kind of, obviously winning silver in that, where it's a lot easier for England coaches to find and look at players. So yeah, effectively, you boys are trailblazers, which I think is pretty cool. Dickie, what about you? Someone told me that your brother is way better than you. Is he playing down Plymouth?
Yeah, nah, Paris. The issue is he hasn't tamed himself off the field, mate. That's where he's gone wrong.
So he's still wild.
I can vouch for that.
Yeah, he's still wild. Yeah. Nah, I was pretty similar to you. Sort of growing up, I played rugby because I enjoyed it, but I never watched it. I didn't know you could actually make money from rugby. I didn't know it was a job. Do you know what I mean? So until I think it was like 16s, I was playing 8 for county, and then the academy coaches at Chiefs had a chat with me and said, look, we want to move you to the front row, obviously for obvious reasons. I was a chunky kid. And then from there, really just speaking to them, that's probably when I properly switched on, went from like a hobby, bit of crack, to I could potentially do something. Obviously wasn't the smartest bloke in school. So it was either that or fishing. And I went out for a trip with the old man for 9 days, and it was probably the worst experience of my life. So I had to make something of this. But yeah, like I said, we signed the first contract about 17, and then from there it was just trying to play a game. I don't think I played a first team game at Lucid. And then the year before, or just under a year before, I think the World Cup is when I think, well, the coaches, the England coaches, they sort of spoke about turning me to hooker. And then that's when it was. I started playing. Basically, that year I was playing for Plymouth. I had a couple games for Chiefs, and then came away with you guys.
So can we cut back in there? So you went fishing with your dad, yeah?
Yeah.
Is it a dead sea fisherman?
Yeah, he's deep sea. Yeah, he's trawlerman. Yeah.
My notes say dead sea, deep sea fisherman, yeah?
Yeah. Trawlerman. Yeah, like normal.
How long did you go out for him? Just overnight, or did you go out for a bit?
9 days.
Mate, is it like deadliest catch?
Yeah. Well, it was. I was there. I think I was about 15. So you work 6 hour shift and you sleep 6 hours. So it's on and off basically. So days roll into one. It was quite tough. We obviously at the time we didn't have it wasn't a massive boat. It was decent size. You'd empty the fish out onto the decks like midnight with the lights on. You'd have to sort through the fish, then you'd gut them on top and then put them in the freezers below. So in about 6 hours, you'd probably get 2 or 3 hauls. But I think after maybe the 5th day, it was the sleep that was getting to me. Like really, it was tough. I was feeling sick. And then after the 9 days, obviously, give me another chance to go back out. But I said I couldn't.
So when you got an opportunity to put pen to paper and be a full-time professional rugby player, that was an easy decision.
Yeah. Well, my mum obviously came with me at the time, and we both sat there and we had no idea what was going on. And obviously we got given the papers and it was in front of us, and I looked there and I was like, what do I do here? And she had nothing to say, so I just signed it, yeah.
Slade, any work experience pre-rugby?
No, I did not quite as extreme as Dickie's, but all my family, well, most of my family are farmers, so I used to get shipped off to the farm, just to be helping out, get paid in a can of Coke at the end of the week or something. So that was not quite as probably as tough as getting up at every 6 hours with Dickie, but it was pretty tough. We're up long days, like miles and miles of electric fencing. Yeah, lambing sheep.
Yeah, Dickie's story is way better.
Way better,
yeah. You boys both 27. How much better can you both get? Like I'd say you're coming into your primes. Your club stuff's going really well. Country's going well for you both. You're established. Like how much better can you boys get? And what's your sort of drivers now?
Well, the same drivers as I've always been, really. Always want to be as good as you can be. Obviously, we've both got young families now, so trying to make as good a life as we can for our families now. Really.
There he is again, the spokesman. I'm coming to Dickie next.
Every time.
I am trying to make as good a life as I can for my family.
Very good. Dickie, what about you? How much better can you get? You had a taste last weekend, got a nice start. Your try tally is impressive. How many are you on now?
I want to say 6, 7.
Mate, it took me 97 games to get 4. It was ridiculous. And then Dickie, you did that in like a weekend.
I had a lucky few games on the trot, bro.
Hell of a try tally. How much better are you going to get, mate?
I don't really know. Obviously, the environment here is good. Eddie's always saying none of us in the team at the minute know how good we can get. Which if it's coming from your coaches, obviously it's quite frightening to hear. Like you feel like you're playing your best rugby now, and hopefully we've still got many years to go. But I suppose it's just happening to the guys around you, what areas you can work on, and especially conditioning wise. I think conditioning wise and sort of power, speed, the more you can improve on them, I think talent will take care of itself. So hopefully I've got a little bit more of me. I hope so. So we'll see.
The more you can improve on those things as you get older, the better you'll be, definitely.
Well, as I say, in the next year or so, like you said, you hit 30, you're downhill then, mate.
Nah, you're not. Well, yeah, you are. Especially in the front row. You don't have to be quick.
Yeah,
but like, when you're coming through, you've got these school coaches or county coaches, and you got your academy coach, and then Rob Hunter, Ali Heifer, Rob Baxter, the kind of big drivers. Now you're both fully fledged international, 7 tries each. I did read my notes. I was going to say, who's driving it now? Because I know Eddie's a massive driver of you guys driving your own careers effectively. What are you doing to become better? How have you taken your preparation, your conditioning more seriously, your game understanding, your recovery? What are you focusing on mainly, Slade, for you to improve?
Well, in terms of recovery, we're always trying to maximise that. So in terms of what's best, like they're always coming out with new things to improve on that. So that's always getting better. In terms of working on things, and always sit down with the coaches and Eddie and the S&C guys here and come up with drills we can do in the gym, exercise in the gym, drills we can do after training. I've been working with TT, one of the S&C, on a bit of footwork and ball carrying, just to try and do bits after training, a little and often, because obviously you're pretty tired after sessions. So getting bits in here and there where what you can make better is important. So always just working on little things, never sort of sitting still, really.
Dickie, what about you? What are you working on other than your fitness? Is there anything else you take far more seriously now?
Yeah, so like you said, fitness, obviously. I've had my times in the past where my diet maybe has gone off track. So for me personally, it's that. As you get older, obviously, recovery, I never really did any recovery when I was younger. I just never did. But now it takes so much longer to go over games. You know how training is when you're away on camp. It's so tough. So mainly just recovery stuff. Like I said, there's loads of new stuff that they've got here, which I'm trying out, and it's definitely helping. So for me, getting older, it's more recovery after training, just so you're back ready either for the game or for the next day's training sessions.
Okay. Yeah, I see. Everyone talks about recovery now, but it's more preparation for the next day, isn't it? It's the way of thinking of it. It's not downing tools in it and having a massage in a hot tub type thing. It's literally getting ready for the hard work you're going to do the next day, putting yourself in best position. We haven't got much longer, boys. I was thinking, who's keeping you honest? You know, obviously ambition's keeping you honest, keeping you there, wanting to maximize the opportunity, do well for your family, like you alluded to, Slade. But like in terms of competition, like I talked about being a hooker, there's always a Tom Youngs, a Rob Webber, Steve Thompson, Luke Cowan-Dickie, Jamie George. There was always someone keeping me really honest. Who's keeping you honest, Slade? Who's kind of coming through or in camp now someone that we maybe don't know about? Is there anyone that you're kind of looking over your shoulder? Or you can just be really, really arrogant and just say you're just not bothered about anyone else and you just...
I mean, there's always competition. Like, for example, in this camp here, it was a shock to me that JJ's not here. Like, for example, if you're seeing people like players of his quality not being involved, then you're thinking, bloody hell, you're lucky to be here. So there's massive quality here. There's loads of quality not quite in here as well. So there's a lot of people vying for the same spot. I think that's what's keeping you honest. And I think what's also keeping you honest is you don't want to be that bloke to let the team down. You know, you want to be pushing on, getting better each day, and working as hard as you can for each other. I think that's what we've got here is a real good group, and we've sort of all bought into the thing of fighting as hard as we can for each thing, and seeing where we can get really. But like I say, there's a lot of quality all over the league, and even at Exeter, we've got 4 good centres that we're all scrapping to get on the pitch each weekend. There's some big boys there, so I've got to make sure I keep eating. But yeah, mate, this competition's the best thing, and literally everywhere we look, there's competition. So
it's a well-rounded, polished answer, Slade. Dickie, who's keeping you honest, mate? Who do you like scrapping with? It's got to be Jinx first and foremost. Like
obviously, Jinxie. Jinxie's obviously. It's a bit like you and him. You know what I mean? Like I'm sort of him when you're in your playing days. Obviously, he's starting most games. I'm trying to. The competition in camp with us two is good. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I say it all the time. It's if you didn't have competition like that, your team's never going to get better. You're not going to get better. But the way I look at it is, if you're too busy looking at other people, you're never going to concentrate on yourself and trying to improve yourself and even enjoy yourself. If you're constantly looking at your back, then you're not going to enjoy the I don't know, the 1 cap I've got left or the 30 caps I've got left. So if there's another guy obviously coming up and he's on the radar and he fits the position better, then fair play. But the only thing I can do is try and improve myself and keep going the way I'm going. So, but now, the little competition me and Jamie's got is going all right to be there because he's a top bloke. So it's hard to be. It's, you know what he's like. He's quite funny. Like he's real good to get on with. It's just hard to maybe sometimes have that competition go over too much. Sometimes, you like a bit of rough and tumble. It's quite hard to do it with him.
Well, guess what? You're a front row and you're playing a contact sport. You know what I mean? Like it's going to happen. But I think I agree with both of you. Like competition is healthy. It is good. And if you were there just happy being number two, well, you want to be number one, number two. But if you were happy just being second, I don't think you'd survive in that environment. It's an environment that, Eddie wants everyone to be driving. I do like your answer about like focusing on yourself though and enjoying yourself.
I like, people say all the time, but it's true. When you enjoy yourself and not comfortable, when you're enjoying yourself and you're not looking back, you always play your best rugby, you train, you enjoy yourself. Otherwise, it gets a bit sappy, if you're always looking back at this guy, and I find you're just getting a little. It's okay to sap, but I find if you sap all the time and you're always looking over your shoulder, it's not a good environment. So I just try and make it the best, bro. I enjoy myself.
Right, boys, we're about done. We're just going to finish this with Ask Dylan Anything. You boys get to ask me one question each. Slade, you'll probably struggle with this because it means thinking.
Are you working for Amazon at the minute?
No.
I was going to say, give me a job at Amazon, bro.
I don't think it's hard to get a job at Amazon, Dickie. They're desperate for delivery drivers at the minute.
Yes, yeah. I can't drive.
Why not?
I haven't passed my test.
But okay, we didn't get into this, but imagine around Exeter, Luke Cowan-Dickie delivering on horseback.
Yeah, that'd be good.
You could set that up.
I'd have to get a shot. I'd have to get a Shire or something like that, wouldn't I?
Can you go into, so for someone that's so impressive, I'm actually a little bit disappointed that you don't drive. There must be a reason why you don't drive. So for wait there.
Dill. Thank you.
Tell me why.
Thank you. 1-0. I drive.
What?
It's 1-0. I drive. Of course I bloody drive. I drove up here. You have to come in single cars.
But
Elliot Daly don't drive.
Elliot Daly, it's embarrassing.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. No, I drive. It was a joke, but the joke obviously went too far. You were too deep into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, do
you know why? Because I know there are players that don't drive, like Elliot Daly. It's embarrassing. So have you got a legitimate question? No, I don't work at Amazon. And just because I did TV for Amazon doesn't mean I could get you a job with Amazon delivering.
That's what I was going to say. Do you feel good about, do you feel like happy now you're retired? Or do you like miss it? Or like, are you content?
I'm really content with how it all went. And by the end of it, I was very tired physically, very tired mentally. Like I'd done everything that I wanted to do, I exceeded. A bit like Dickie, I never thought I could do what I did with the ability I had as well. So to rack up the amount of games I did and, the experiences I had, I lost things, I won things, I went through all the disciplinaries and all that. I exceeded my expectations. So by the time I was done, I was really happy. And you guys know when you got a young family at home, spending more time away becomes difficult. And then your knees start creaking and it's like you got Dickie chomping at your heels. It's like, how long can you keep doing this? Do you know what? I'm genuinely happy that my knee told me to stop and I didn't have to, make that decision that, Dan Carter's just made where you've got to stop playing. So I'm happy my knee retired me.
Comparing yourself to Dan Carter.
Quite the opposite. Well, boys, thank you for your time. Good luck in the forthcoming weeks, and it's been a pleasure to talk to you both. Thank you for your insights.
That's what. Big man.